Hey yo, man, hit that thumbs up button. Excuse me, hit that thumbs up button. Join that notification gang, so you know when these videos is coming at you, man. Also follow Ghetto Correspondence. So in the Candace podcast, conversations with Nick. I've never like listened to it or whatever, but it comes up in my recommendations. And he was under Viacom, so Viacom just recently dropped Nick Cannon, Viacom CBS, for hateful speech, quote unquote. And this is a powerful network. A lot of people, I think, for people who don't understand the business of television, and now they got a chance to look into it. Now, Viacom, CBS, I mean, Viacom owns every network you can think of that are really popular that people watch. BET, your so-called black network. And by the way, fuck you, Bob Johnson. That was the only black-owned network. He owned it, became a pioneer, and he fucking sold out. Literally, he sold it to Viacom. You sold it to the Jew network. But they own BET, Paramount Network, which used to be Spike TV, which before that was TNN. They own Comedy Central. Think about it. Charlemagne just got to deal with Comedy Central. You're under Viacom. You should be on the fucking lookout. VH1, Nick Jr., CMT, Nickelodeon. Ironically, that's where Nick Cannon got his start. MTV. No more Wildin' Out. That's now gone. Matter of fact, somebody told me they tried to watch Wildin' Out yesterday. They turned on Fresh Prince. They got rid of this real quick. TV Land, MTV Classic, Logo, BET Gospel, BET Soul, CBS Sports, Showtime, MTV. I could keep going. Like they, a lot of the Jews really run television. I remember when Dr. Lamont Hill got on there. He was working for CNN and he said some shit, and basically they gave him the door. Now the fucked up part is we don't we don't have many options or we can go to if you do get fired from a major network because we don't own any major networks. You know, shout out to Revolt TV for playing Minister Farrakhan's 4th of July speech. I watched about 2 hours of that, but that's not even all black owned. You know, and he got censored too last year once he started getting kind of like a rejuvenated on social media, and a few people like Chelsea Handler and some celebrities started retweeting his stuff. He kind of was getting a lot of heat, and they censored him. But this is what a lot of white people in power do. They don't want to hear the truth. And when someone who's popular, who has a big influence, is talking that shit, they got to pull the carpet under their feet and say, oh no, we got to pull the plug. Now, a lot of times people get upset and they're like, well, why doesn't so and so use their platform to talk about black issues? And we quick to call people sellouts and coons. But in reality, they can't. Because if they do, shit like this happens. They get censored or they get shut down. I don't even know if they gave Nick Cannon a warning and told him ahead of time. It just came out of nowhere and they just got rid of it. You know, now I don't watch Nick Cannon's podcast, but I do know, like I say, it would get recommended to me. And lately, he had a lot of social justice warriors on there, and I was like, okay. He had Tariq Nasheed on there a few weeks back. I think he had Brother Polite on there once. He had Professor Grift on there last week. I'm like, whoa, he's really tapping into that conscious community. And the difference between Nick Cannon and those cats, those guys, those brothers aren't a part of corporate America. They're not. They don't have $1 million endorsements. They're not under CBS, Viacom, Nickelodeon, MTV. They don't own restaurants and bars. They didn't. They wasn't on a show on NBC like America's Got Talent. Nick Cannon is corporate. He's one of the corporates. You know, he's been fucking with corporate America since day one. He came up on the Nickelodeon. So he's got a lot more to lose than those cats. I applaud him for sticking his neck out and still tapping into that and really bringing truth and bringing light. So it's just full of shit because all of these corporate companies, they pander to black folks now with the whole BLM movement. But then when somebody is talking the real shit that y'all don't want to hear, which is truth because they want to deceive people's reality, they can't have that. They'd rather just give you stupid shit like having congressmen wearing dashikis and stuff like that. They don't really want to talk the real talk. And I actually play some of this shit. But yeah, Viacom condemns bigotry of any kind and categorically denounce all forms of anti-Semitism, sentimentism. We have spoken with Nick Cannon about an episode of his podcast, Cannon's Class, on YouTube, which promoted hateful speech. While we support ongoing education and dialogue in the fight against bigotry, we are deeply troubled that Nick has failed to acknowledge or apologize for perpetrating this, and we are terminating our relationship with him. That's what Viacom made a statement. Now listen to
Really
this.
are as gods, and understanding that our melanin is so power and it connects us in a way that the reason why they fear black, the reason why they fear is because the lack that they have of it. So then when you see what Dr. Francis C. Welsing talked about is that fear and
just genetic annihilation,
deficiency of when you have a person that has the lack of pigment, the lack of melanin, that they know that they will be annihilated. So therefore, however they got the power, they have the lack of compassion. That melanin comes with compassion. Melanin comes with soul. That we call it soul. We soul brothers and sisters. That's the melanin that connects us. So the people that don't have it are a little, and I'm gonna say this carefully, are a little less. And where the term actually comes from, because I'm bringing it all the way back around to Minister Farrakhan, to where people, it may not have the compassion or the when they were sent to the mountains of Caucasus, when they didn't have the power of the sun, that the sun then started to deteriorate them. So then they're acting out of fear. They're acting out of low self-esteem. They're acting out of a deficiency. So therefore, the only way that they can act is evil. The only way they have to rob, steal, rape, kill, and
fight or flight,
in order to survive.
Exactly.
So then these people who didn't have what we had, and when I say we, I speak of the melanated people.
Right.
They had to be savages. They had to be barbaric. Because they're in these Nordic mountains. They're in these rough, torrential environments. So they're acting as animals.
All right, that was Truth Talk, and that was the scientifics of the breakdown of racism. Another part of racism and white guilt is their biggest fear is that they know what they've done to us, and their biggest fear is that we'll come back and do it to them. But you could tell Nick Cannon is really just tapping into
when
that.
We talk about who
that you can tell he just learned some of that stuff, and there's nothing wrong with learning shit. You know what I mean? Don't ever think that you're too smart. I'm still learning shit. Shout out to Dr. Frances Welsing, rest in peace to her. But yeah, this is what they do, man. So censorship is real. You would think with freedom of speech, and it's 2020, but it seems like the more time is going by, the more sensitive people want to act. But just ask yourself that. With all this pandering that's going on, y'all want to have a black section on every streaming service and all of this shit, all of the pandering in the world. But when it comes to it, you want to censor somebody for telling the truth because it's something that he said that made you uncomfortable. And if it wasn't real and it was just offensive, then what's the fucking problem? I watched plenty of shows on network television where they offended me and said disrespectful shit about black people. They still throw around the black on black crime narrative all the time. And I think that's a spit in the face. Don't blame me for all of the violence in Chicago and all over. I don't fucking gangbang. I've never shot anybody. But they want to use that to me when they talk to me about police brutality. Well, y'all kill each other. Who the fuck is y'all? You know what I mean? But, yeah, this is fucked up. Nick Cannon lost about 10 deals. And, I don't think he's going to go hungry. I don't think he's going to be asking for donations. But, yeah, this is a big reason why a lot of the big black elites don't use their platform in this type of manner because they're afraid they're going to get everything stripped away. Like I said, Nick has been tapping into it. I remember seeing Nick on an episode of 5150 earlier this year. I was like, oh, shit. Not that, him and Corey is always tight, but I was like, wow, he really getting down in the trenches. So Nick's probably going to have to just start doing YouTube. He's going to have to find a way. And it's sad. You would think in 2020 we would have a real platform on network television, but it seems like the only platform that black folks can really talk that shit is social media and YouTube. That's what we've been, lowered to because we can't get on television because these big, powerful networks, which we don't own any, they control everything. Period. And now, where's the alternative? You can't go to BET. Viacom owns that. And by the way, when y'all watch BET and y'all ask me why you don't watch, because Viacom owns them. You're not supporting a black network when you watch BET. It used to be black, but fuckboy Bob Johnson sold it. So all of these networks are under Viacom. Some of your favorite channels. Do you have the discipline to stop watching VH1 and these stupid reality shows? You want to make a difference? Boycott these fucking networks that y'all watch so much that you probably don't even know. Look it up. I mean, Viacom owns half of the channels people watch, the most popular channels. So fuck Viacom. Nick Cannon, keep your head up. You corny, but your head is in the right place. I commend him for his bravery, and let me know what y'all think in the comments, man.